my microphone. What's up, guys? See everybody this evening. Nick Sweeney, always early. I'm always on time. Arizona boy, what's up, man? Good to see you again today. Short stories by Kate. Good to see you. So everybody knows the drill. If you've been here before, I'll raise that up a little bit. We'll hang out for a second and then give everybody a chance to come in, and then we'll get into tonight's topics. So first one, the big one on the thumbnails, we're going to go over the Battle of Belly River. That's a part of our upcoming Blackfoot special. Space Cowboy, what's up, man? Then we're going to actually, hey, I'm glad you got here right now. I was waiting for you to get here, Space Cowboy. We're going to, after we dive into the Battle of Belly River, we're going to get into the legend of Snowshoe Thompson. And I say legend, he was a real guy. And suggested by Space Cowboy himself. We'll do a little dive into that and go over the life of Snowshoe Thompson, a famous Sierra Nevada mountain man. And then we are going to do, what else do I have on here? And, oh yeah, we'll do a little preview of Tonto for tomorrow if everybody feels up to it. So yeah, welcome in, welcome in. We'll be releasing a Blackfoot special episode this weekend, probably maybe Friday, but probably Saturday, the way the holidays work out. Nobody watches stuff on a holiday. You got to make it before or after the holiday. We've learned that. So what we'll be doing tonight is diving into what I think is it's the most interesting part of the Blackfoot special, really. The Battle of Belly River. A lot of people don't know about it for, I think, two big reasons. It happened in Canada, one, so we don't know a lot about stuff like that here in America, and it happened in intertribal warfare. So I think we are just woefully uninformed on the who, how, why, what, where of intertribal warfare. So this will be an interesting look at it, and then we'll give you a deeper dive with the episode. Let's see, where are we at here? We are at 2 minutes in. Let's go one more minute. We'll let everybody pile in. Let me see who's here already. Hey, Blakely, good to see you, man. I haven't seen you in a while. This battle is one of the incentives for creating what became the RCMP. Yep, that's right. If you're a Canadian, you chime in here because I know enough from having researched the episode, and that's about my lifetime's worth of knowledge. Let's see. They were originally known as the Northwest Mounted Police, right? If you don't know the Mounties, even my generation knows the who is the Mountie cartoon? Oh, how am I? Dudley Do Right? Is that the Mountie cartoon? I digress, but our knowledge of the Mounties is limited here in America. Let's see. Space Cowboy, what's up, dude? He's excited for Snowshoe Thompson. Engineer Hickory Stripe Hat. Dudley Do Right. Hey, what's up, engineer? I don't know if I've seen you in here before. Dudley Do Right says short stories by Kate. If you say it, short stories by Kate, we'll believe you. Oh yeah, new thing that we also, before we jump into it, new thing we implemented because last night everybody had fun with it. We already used up the movie slot for this week, so a new rule, at least for now, standing $50 offer. If you throw down a $50 super chat, you can pick the next topic of the next live stream or the next topic of the next movie night. So that's a standing rule, just like any good bar. Not that this is like a bar, but kind of. Ellie McFadden, good to see you. We had a bunch of people actually show up for the noontime stream. I was surprised. And also, if you were here for and then I promise we'll get into the Battle of Belly River. If you were here for the noontime stream, what do you think? Should I keep it at noon Central Time? So should I keep it where it's at or maybe move it a little bit earlier? I'm thinking maybe an hour, something like that earlier. If you are a regular of the noontime streams, or if you would like to see the noontime streams, let me know what time frame works for you, like 10 a.m., 12 noon, somewhere in there. Let's see. What's up, HOKC? Hey, Mike Holtz, what's up, man? Shout out from Detroit. You've been with us for a long time, dude. I've been shouting out Detroit for a long time. A lot of my favorite bands are from Detroit area. Let's see. I'd say lunchtime is good. Cool. Where are you at? Like 10, what is that? You're Central, right? You watching any wrestling right now, Mike? Lots of good stuff. I just watched Oklahoma State versus Arizona State. All right, see, look, we got enough people in here. Cool. So the Battle of Belly River, we'll jump into it, was the last intertribal conflict that happened in Canada. So it happened in 1870, relatively late as far as intertribal conflict goes, anyways. But happened in Lethbridge, Alberta. Now, I had to rewrite the script because I think I said it was like Alberta, Edmonton, Canada, or something. Something was just like laughable if you lived in Canada. It's like saying they lived in Texas, Houston, America. I had it all screwed up, so I was embarrassed about that. Took a little learning on my part. It is basically it's looked at as a conflict between two tribes, but really it's a conflict between two confederacies, meaning the literal term of a confederation of tribes. The Blackfoot Confederacy, which was basically all of the Blackfoot bands combined, and the Northern Piegan, which, to my understanding, the Northern Piegan can be like kind of a separate enfolded entity, but they're still part of the Blackfoot. And then what's known as the Iron Confederacy or the Cree Assiniboine Alliance. So that's the Cree, the Assiniboine. Those are always listed. I found a couple more here, though. There's the Cree, the Assiniboine, the Plains Ojibwe, the Stoney, and some Métis. So this is, if you're looking at a map of Canada, it's kind of smack dab in the middle of it, just north of Montana and North Dakota. Where'd the camera go? Okay, there we go. So they had been warring. The Blackfoot and the Cree have been warring for a long time. They had been relatively peaceful prior to European incursion, and then as more land got eaten up and as more trade deals were made, they became more and more vitriolic towards each other, and that erupted into some hellacious warfare that spanned half a century. And this is kind of the culmination of that. And it happens at a really bad time for the Blackfoot. They are really, just in the 1860s, they had been devastated by smallpox. And they really, both tribes had spent over a century by this point just being devastated by smallpox. Like we might have something analogous to it with the Spanish flu, like we talked about a couple nights ago, where millions and millions of people died. And it's huge swaths of the Blackfoot and Cree and Lakota and Cheyenne and Kiowa and Comanche populations lost, not to war, but in a matter of months' times, to a disease that they had no idea what this was. But it is a generations-long conflict. So the Cree are like, they know they've been waiting for their time to strike on the Blackfoot. They decide to head out. They're going to strike what they think is kind of like a medium-sized Blackfoot village with about 800. There's different accounts. With all this stuff, it seems like there's a very low estimate, very high estimate. So it'll be, here it says 750 to 1,500. So let's say probably around 1,000 warriors. And they think this is a great time to hit a medium-sized village because most of them are weakened. Most of them have either been stricken with smallpox or their warriors they've got much fewer warriors, on and on and on, right? They're having a tough time, so kick them while they're down. So this large party of 1,000 warriors set out. It's the fall of 1870, so it's pretty cold outside still. They're along the banks of the Belly River, where they find this, what they think is the Blackfoot village. So they attack it, and they attack one, and they pretty much take it out, right? But then they move down the river, and they see another small encampment. And they're like, oh, okay, so this is all of them. And they hit that one, and they take out everybody. And when I say take them out, I mean unalive all of the inhabitants, men, women, and children. But a couple Blackfoot get away from the second small encampment, 4 or 5 lodges, not very big. They make it across the Belly River and over this embankment. And over the embankment is an entire huge Blackfoot village that the Cree haven't seen at all. So while the Cree are rummaging through the spoils of warfare and collecting everything, like they would take everything you could get that would make your life easier, that you could brag about, whether it's a tool, whether it's a shirt, whether it's blankets, whether it's fire starting equipment, whatever. You would grab what you could take, and you would take it. It was seen as it wasn't seen as pillaging so much as like claiming what was rightfully yours. I mean, there we go. Switch that. So while they're doing that, it's 1,000 guys, and they're raking through these two smaller encampments. So it might be a couple dozen Blackfoot that they've taken out by this point. I'm sorry to use such crude terms, but it abides within the YouTube TOS, the terms of service. So taking them out. While they're in the middle of that, suddenly they're virtually surrounded by Blackfoot. They're down on the river, and then all of the embankments all around them are just swarming with Blackfoot. If you remember watching The Revenant, if you've watched along with us, there is a scene where they're like this. The mountain men are camped on a river, and there's a ridge up along the riverbank, and there's tons of Arikara warriors in this case lining it and then making their way down into the encampment. That is the worst thing that you could see. Your enemy has the high ground. I swear that's coffee. No, I don't know. It's just like the shadow, the way that works out. It's unfortunate the way on my mouth there. But the warriors, the enemy has the high ground, and they are just within minutes. It goes from, hey, the Cree have won. The Cree are like, man, easy day's work, to it's like a turkey shoot. It's like they're trapped there. There's far more Blackfoot, and then very soon there's far fewer Cree, and they try fleeing into the river, but they're just trapped in the river. So it just becomes this veritable BLOOD bath, right? It is just a gnarly scene. I'm kind of summing it up pretty quickly there. All right, let's see here. Let me go through my notes. So let's see. The first class comes near the river at the camp. Then they're driven out onto the plains, and this kind of running fight takes place for a number of hours. And it's all just back and forth. Like, it's not a continuous fight. It's like a little bit of a skirmish happens, and then a chase, and then a little bit of a skirmish happens. The horses get tired. They feel like they have to stop and make a stand. So it just continues like this for hours and hours. And $5 super chat. Awesome. Thank you. Short stories by Kate. Was it the Blackfoot tribe that were attacking Hugh Glass? Good question. No, it was the Arikara that were attacking Hugh Glass. So the Blackfoot are north. They're in Montana and then Alberta. The Arikara would be a little southeast of this. They're in the Dakotas, South Dakota, I think even the Iowa areas. So they were a very feared tribe by the trappers as well, though, and they are the ones that ended up unaliving Hugh Glass. He had a complicated relationship with the Arikara, but the Blackfoot were kind of public enemy number one for the trappers. We're talking Canadian and American trappers. They had a pretty solid trade relationship with the French, with the British. I've heard different accounts on this, but that they were called Blackfoot because there would be prairie fires all the time. We think prairie fires are like a new phenomenon. There's always forest fires and prairie fires. A lot of times they were set by the tribes because they understood basically burning off prairie and then letting it regrow. But it was a common thing, so common that when the Blackfoot would make their way from the plains of Canada east to the Great Lakes, to Hudson Bay, to trade with the British and the French, their moccasins, their leggings would get black with soot. So they became known as the Blackfoot. I don't know how true that is, but I've seen that in a couple of accounts. With all of these tribe names, it's hard to always pin down their exact historical etymology. But Magic Keycast, what's up, man? I just did an interview with Magic Keycast on Disney's adaptations of Davy Crockett and how they implemented that into Disneyland. It's a really interesting show. So I'll let you guys know when it's out. That was a fun interview. Let's see. All right, let me see if I need to cover another section here before I jump into the chat and see what's going on. Yes, the Blackfoot were very powerful. They were the reigning martial power on the northern plains. So you had to kind of wait until the Cree and the Iron Confederacy had to kind of wait until they were in a weakened state, and they really felt like this was their time to strike. And it just obviously ended up not working out great for them. There's 200 to 300. That's estimates, right? 200 to 300 estimates KIA for the Cree. I would probably put that closer to probably in the 200 to 250 range, but still, let's say it's 250. That's a 25% mortality rate for your force. That's a devastating defeat. Meanwhile, roughly 40 to 60 Blackfoot KIA. So obviously, we're looking at more injured on both sides. As well, right? But comparatively, just a massive victory for the Blackfoot and a devastating defeat for the Cree. It's odd to me. It is odd that it happened relatively recently, because if you look at it, say from the time, what's a good delineator? Say the Wright brothers' first flight, as in 1905, somewhere around there. This is 35 years before that, so that would be like something happening in 1990 today. So it's not a crazy long time span. And this was warfare like it happened, that had been going on for centuries this way. There was no quarter. People really misunderstand the nature of plains warfare. They think it was all counting coup and building a reputation, but there was very little in the way of actually fighting, actually unaliving. There was very little in the way of mortality rates. And that just depends. Like sometimes there was raiding, sometimes it was just a way to build your reputation. You could count coup. If you don't know what that means, getting close enough is a French term, COUP, adopted by the tribes, but it was a term for getting close enough to touch one's enemy without harming them. And it was a way to display your bravery, right? Everyone thinks it was that. Sometimes it was that, but a lot of times it devolved into, or evolved, however you want to look at it, into these terrible blood feuds. I mean, just generations long. And this is what we see here, even into the late 1800s, as back east, there's metropolises thriving from New York, Boston, Philadelphia, Toronto. Advancements are being made at, there's electricity going up, on and on and on. We just finished a civil war here. So civilization is really starting to progress quickly. And this battle was, no different, other than some of the weaponry, no different than what had been happening for generations. And the rules were all the same. It was winner take all. Any women and children who did survive would be taken captive. Any surviving warriors would be, I don't know, how do I say the T word on here? It's tiresome. The TORTURED, right? That would happen to them. It was not good. So it was just a brutal affair. And in many ways, it's like war is war, right? Like, I'm not saying it's more brutal than the Civil War or Napoleonic warfare, but there were no terms. There was no like honorable surrender terms. There was no signing of treaties. It was winner take all, zero sum game affair. So it's something, I think, if you want to understand the Old West, you need to understand that intertribal conflict occurred, and the Old West wasn't confined to the United States. It was all of South America, all of Central America, all of the United States, including Hawaii and Alaska and Canada, who gets forgotten a lot, but has, I mean, comparatively, a lot of battles and native, let's say, attacks, I guess. A lot of intertribal battles, a lot of mountain man battles. So a very rich Wild West, Old West history themselves. So this was the last conflict between the two tribes, the last intertribal battle in, I always forget this. Is it Canadian? Yeah, in Canadian history. Sometimes I want to say North American history, but no, in Canadian history. It ended finally. The conflict formally ended with the signing of the 1871 peace agreement at Fort McLeod. Let's see, maybe I'm not missing anything on that pertinent. The Cree eventually ended up seeking peace from the Blackfoot. It was signed and granted at Fort McLeod. I gotta look up where Fort McLeod's actually at. It's in Alberta somewhere. Let me look it up real quick, guys. Fort McLeod. Did anyone go check out the links I learned to put in the chat earlier? I learned to put links in the chat now. Pretty good, right? Oh, Pet Detective's a $5 super chat. Sorry, just saw this. 25% loss is an absolute massacre. It really is. And it was something where they really thought they were going to have an easy time. You can think of it like a football team showing up thinking like, we're going to just run through these guys today, and then they lose 36-0, right? 42-0. Okay, let me look. I'm just curious where Fort McLeod is, real quick, guys. It is in Alberta for sure, but I'm just looking at the map here. I'll send you guys a link. Here's the link to the Fort McLeod YouTube, or to the Fort McLeod Wikipedia page. Oh, I see. I see where it's at. Here you go, for your edification. There's a link to the Fort McLeod Wikipedia page. This is where the peace agreement of Fort McLeod was signed, thus nullifying, at least ostensibly, the conflict between the mighty Blackfoot tribe, the Blackfoot Confederacy, and the mighty Iron Confederacy, the Cree tribe. Cree tribe. That's tough to say. But yeah, just between me and you guys, and I think they're well aware of this too. You can get in the comments. Look at the comments after this next video comes up on Saturday. Things aren't settled yet. The Cree and the Blackfoot people, both good friends of ours here at HOKC, still don't get along swimmingly. They get after it in the comments, that's for sure. Something I didn't know. I was surprised to see when I started seeing that. Let's see. Okay, now I'm going to check the chat real quick, see what everyone is up to. See. Joe McGee, history should be told as it happened. Well done, in my humble opinion. Well, thank you very much. And this is just a precursor so you understand the battle a little bit better. The actual story, the actual episodes will be coming out, like I said, probably Saturday this week. It's at the editor right now, but it's a tricky thing with the holidays. I think I was talking about that earlier. You got to work around them. Magic Keycast says solid summary. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. When you're surrounded, that simplifies the problem, says Engineer Hickory Stripe Hat. Yeah, that's the Chesty Puller quote. Is that right? When they're surrounded at Chosin Reservoir, and he says, we got them right where we want them. Let's see. Congrats on the link, says Doc. Thank you. Thank you, Doc. Mike Holt says, Cree rolled the dice and it came up snake eyes. Just imagine you're going from thinking you're ruling the day after smoking 2 villages. You're pillaging and then look up to see that you're encircled. That's basically, you know what? Talk about a good summary. That was a really good summary right there, Mike Holtz. That's basically what happened. And they were thinking like, man, we finally got our shot. They've been kind of waiting to pick their shot, and then they rolled snake eyes. That's a good analogy. Let's see. I'm scrolling through, guys. If you left a chat, be patient. I'm looking them up here. So yeah, that's a general summary. Does anybody have any questions on the Battle of Belly River? Or the Blackfoot or the Cree? I think they're pretty well-known tribes, but sometimes people don't know as much as they should. Like, they're underappreciated tribes. I think the Blackfoot have some of the I was talking about this on the lunch stream. They have some of the coolest outfits, coolest headgear, really cool beadwork and everything. Let's see. Oh, Jerry. Oh, yeah. Blakely. Jerry Potts eventually became a scout for the Mounties and secured good relations with them and the Blackfoot. The Cree then joined the Métis in a short war in 1885 against the Canadian government. And I forgot to mention Jerry Potts. Jerry Potts was half Cree, right? At least adopted into the tribe, and he was at the battle and gave one of the. He might have given the only firsthand account of it, but he's half half Canadian, like half French Canadian, half Cree, something like that. Yeah, he was a character in and of himself in Canadian history. Maybe like a trying to think, like Canadian Kit Carson. What do you think? Is that anybody that knows Canadian history? Is that kind of right? Let's see. Space Cowboy says you got to listen to the day Lincoln was assassinated, and then follow it up with a story about the hunt for John Wilkes Booth. What channel is that? Because yeah, we need to do like a breakdown of the conspiracy surrounding the entire events of Lincoln's unaliving and Booth's subsequent unaliving. Let's see. Any Cree Blackfoot questions? And also a quick update. The sawdust pie is going to be ready tomorrow. Okay. That's going to be ready. The Dubai cupcakes, they're making me wait for the filling. All right. It's not as easy to get as you would think. I have to wait for it. So I got to do them on Friday, but that's okay with me. Let's see. What's up, Acid? Good to see you, man. Are you just getting here? Let's see. Blakely says, I believe, yeah, he was a scout, but I don't think he took part in the 1885 conflict. I haven't read anything about the 1885 conflict. Let's see. Space Cowboy says, I invited a bunch of my real life and imaginary friends to join us tonight. Hope you don't mind. No, more the merrier. We're trying to bump the audience up, get people watching. We have a good time here. So it's more of I look at it as part education, part party, right? We all hang out. We talk history. We talk some good mess. We talk some conspiracies. Oh, a super chat from Pet Detectives Agency, Pet Detectives Adventures, excuse me. A good friend of the show. $2. Thank you so much. Did the Blackfoot have any well-known chiefs? Yes, several. I put a list together here. If I can find my list, actually. I put the list together. I should be able to tell you. Sometimes I mix them up with the Cheyenne chiefs, though, so I don't want to miss. Let's see. Shoot, I had them written out. Let me look here. Maybe I didn't copy and paste that from my phone. Let's see. Such is the problem of multi-platform technology. Let's see. Blackfoot. I need to jog my memory. Mountain Chief, yeah, that's right, is the most famous one that I remember. A lot of them have really cool names. They have way cooler names than the Comanche, really. Morning Owl, Heavy Runner, Yellow Horse. A lot of the Blackfoot conflict, too, had kind of retreated northward, so there wasn't a lot of conflict with them and American forces, not a ton during the Indian Wars. The history term, not my term. Hello to all of Space Cowboys friends. If you are out there, good to see you. Are you all Nevada natives? Thank you, everybody, for coming by. The more the merrier. We're wanting to grow this, man. We're finding a surprising amount of people who are interested in talking history. So if you like history, this is the place for you. Hop in the live chat. Let me know what you like, what you don't like. Argue with me. You know what? I'm going to post a poll right now. Actually, let's see. Start a poll. Have you ever heard of the Battle of Belly River? This audience surprises me sometimes because you guys know about a lot of stuff. Though everybody that's here now, you should have been here last night. We had a poll on whether there was a conspiracy around this Old West stage jacking, I guess you'd call it. And 30% of our audience says it was indeed a conspiracy. So we got some free thinkers in here, which is good. I am among them. Mostly my Navy shipmates and childhood friends. Love you guys. Love you too, Space Cowboy. Come on in, guys. We have lots of Marine vets. My good buddy watches. He's a Navy vet. Let's see. We got soldiers, Army guys that watch. Oh, we have some airmen watching. Is Mike Holtz an airman? We have a couple airmen that watch. We need some Coast Guard guys and some Space Force guys. So if you know them, bring them over. Let's see. The first rule of imaginary friends, you don't talk about your imaginary friends. Well, until the cops show up, then maybe. Let's see. Best comparison I can think of for the tribes is all the different duchies in the Holy Roman Empire. What are duchies? Oh, Crowfoot, Blakely mentions was a Blackfoot chief. Yep, Crowfoot. They'll have just great names. Comanche names, I think we talked about this, but Comanche names are like rough. They're R or maybe X-rated a lot of the time. Let's see. Make sure I got everybody in the chat here. So far, 62% of you. Let me see how many people have voted. 16 people voted, and 65% of you have not heard of it. Yeah, it's strange. It's got everything. I hate to say that you would want, but it's got everything that makes an Old West battle interesting. And not a lot of people have heard of it. I bet a lot of Canadians haven't heard of it. because it kind of happened out in the middle of nowhere. But yeah, I'm excited for you guys to see this one. I think you'll enjoy it. I think the best stories come from the kind of dark corners of the old west, where it's the stuff. We all know about Little Bighorn. I love the Little Bighorn story. We all know about a lot of people know about adobe walls. We know about the Alamo, but a lot of people, those aren't boring. Those are great stories. But a lot of people have no idea that the Battle of Belly River happened, or Massacre Canyon, or the Battle of Pierre's Hole, which, forgive me, but I think that's an unfortunately named battle, but fascinating story nonetheless. Scrolling through. Oh, we got a bunch of new chats in. Okay, sorry. I digress. Stephen Miller, what's up, man? Are you the Secretary of State, Stephen Miller? I'm guessing yes. Engineer Hickory stripe hat, pasta duchy on the left-hand side. That's a good one. I like that. Surrender Monkey, I had to answer no to the poll as I really don't know about our early American history. I'm learning history on the fly. Well, good news for you. This actually happened in a British protectorate in Canada. Is it a protectorate? Is that right? Scanning through the chat here. I lived like a space cadet for years. Does that count? I think it does. Thank you to all the service members on here. Yeah, we got a lot of veterans to tune in. So thank you to all you guys. I'm envious of the generation that has the privilege of enlisting in the U.S. Space Force. Trivia question: what is the official motto of the U.S. Space Force, and what is the name of the official hymn? I have no idea. Let's see. Me and my imaginary friends are fighting right now, and it's going to be a tough imaginary Thanksgiving. Well, just let them know who runs the show. I mean, just get different pieces of pie for each of them. If everybody has their own pie, everybody's kept happy. Just look up a map of the whole. Okay, yeah, and I think I just said a couple days ago, I've been getting into the history of the Holy Roman Empire, and I'm, showing my ignorance here, Arizona boy. Stephen Miller says, "No, I'm just a paramedic from Texas." Oh, you're a paramedic. Well, thank you for your service as well, man. That's a tough job. Let's see. Doc Will, I don't track much on Canadian history outside of the intersection with the U.S. history or the early Voyager explorers. There's some good stuff. Don't deprive yourself if you just because it's Canadian. I know how we can be sometimes, but there's some good stuff in there. Space Cowboy says the motto for the Space Force is Semper Supra. And for 100 extra points, what does Semper Supra mean in English? Always above? I don't know. Something like that. It's always something or forever something. I know Semper Fidelis, as I think we all do. Always high. Says, that's pretty funny, engineer. Something like that, right? My knowledge on the Space Force is 0. Knowledge on NASA, questionably high. But knowledge on the Space Force, almost 0. Yeah, that's what I say. Always above. Yeah, okay. I wasn't far off. I used to have a sick pair of Supras back in the day, says Arizona boy. All right, scanning through the chat, scanning through here. Sorry, guys, we got a lot of chats coming in. Like I said, if you got something you really want me to see, that it's mandatory, I have to see it. Super chat, $2, no problem. I'll see it. If you want to support the show, super chat. And if you want to call the next topic, $50 super chat takes it right away. First one we get, you get to call the next topic or the next movie night. Dan Robertson took the prize last night with Ballad of Buster Scruggs. So that's coming on Friday, courtesy of Mr. Robertson. I only know Toyota Supras. Dude, I got a Toyota. Toyotas are dope. I didn't grow up really appreciating Toyotas, and they're good vehicles. Let's see. Looking through the chat. Oh, I need to make my window bigger. There we go. That makes them easier to see. All right. Let's see. If you have any more Blackfoot Cree questions, let me know. Then we'll move on to a brief history of Snowshoe Thompson, which I think is an interesting guy. I mean, like, pretty brief because I'm just finding out about him courtesy of Space Cowboy, but he's an interesting guy. I have to bring my notes back up. But if you have any They're coming for me. I don't know if you guys heard that. Everybody hear the siren? If you have any more questions on the Blackfoot, the Cree, the Battle of Belly River, um, the upcoming episode on the Blackfoot, hit me with them in the chat as I search through my notes for. I know it was in here. What happened to it? I'm saying that a lot tonight. I know. In summary, though, while I look this up, Snowshoe Thompson was a mountain man of sorts in the Sierra Nevadas in the 1870s. Let me check this. 1850s through the 1870s. He was a Norwegian guy that had come out. He was an expert cross-country skier. He's known as the father of skiing in California because up until the 1850s, they'd seen snowshoes, but they hadn't really seen skis. So he brought this Norwegian tradition of cross-country skiing out, and they still do it. It's a big thing in the Sierras in California, and it enabled him to cover crazy amounts of area. Like he was able to get through passes that they were unaliving experienced miners and experienced hikers, and he was still able to take the mail through, take medicine through. This guy was like a human Balto. Like he saved entire settlements several times over. And he was known to, he had these two skis. He would make his own skis out of pine. So there's lots of pine up there. He would do this like Norwegian tradition of flattening them out. And then they didn't have bindings on them. They just had these little loops for his toes. Like he had boots on, but he just slipped. So there's nothing like really holding them. And they said he had one long pole instead of two poles. Did you hear this, Space Cowboy? Is this right? Let me check on Space Cowboy's knowledge. You hear anything about this one pole? How could that be? How could you have any skiers in here? How could you have one long pole? But I mean, that's what the reports say. Oh, 1 second. Blackfoot and super chat from Terry R. $5 super chat. Thank you so much. Blackfoot and Cree were both sides in the U.S. also. Yes, they're both tribes were in the U.S. Several tribes, I think the Lakota as well. Factions of them fled north of the border after finally being cracked down for good by the U.S. government, because they were much different. There were different policies in Canada, much more forgiving in most cases. Let's see. All right, I tell you what, I'm gonna roll through this because I get confused with the chat. So if you have something like Terry R, if you have something that you want me to hit right away, super chat it. It could be like for $1. I don't care. It's fine. But that lets me know, like, diverge my attention for a second. Because I don't know that much about snowshoes. So I'm trying to sum it up for you guys quickly here. Yeah, it does say, look in the notes. It says 1 10 or 12 foot pole. Like, I don't understand. Like, unless this is like a kayak situation. Do we have, I do want to, like, let me check here. Is there any skiers can tell me if that's possible? How does that work? But he carried no weapons. He could complete most of these trips in 2 or 3 days. He's the only communication. If you've ever been back in the Sierra Nevadas, there's still not a lot of communication between the towns back there and the outside world. And if you can imagine going to these places by snowshoe in the middle of, or by ski in the middle of snow, it would be a rough job. So, and a critical job. There's nobody else going to bring them the mail. Nobody else is going to bring them the medicine. So this guy was a lifeline for 20 plus years. Let me click that out. Okay. And I'm just scanning the chats here, scanning the notes here, make sure I'm not losing anything. He hauled up to 100 pounds of mail at a time. It's all just whatever you can fit in a backpack, and he puts it on his back, and then he skis, and he skis, and he skis, and he would just show up, give him the stuff, get a little meal in him, and then take off again. I guess this is just normal for Norway. I guess this is just what they did, but he was just a famous guy throughout all of Sierras. And it's like, if you're known as a badass throughout the Sierras in the 1850s, 60s, 70s, you're a bad dude. He was never, this makes a lot of sense. He was never paid by the US government despite decades of service. A shocker. Can't believe that. But he never lost a letter, never lost a parcel, never let medicine run out for a town. He literally never missed. He batted 1,000, no mistakes, no days off, never got paid. Go figure. He ended up, I got a lot of chats rolling in. I'll get right to him. I'll get right to him. Let me make sure I'm finishing these out with some level of accuracy here. He ended up passing away from appendicitis, I believe. Yes, appendicitis at the age of 49 in 1876. A lot at that time. I don't know that they could do a ton for that. That's a bad deal. But a Sierra Nevada mountain range legend. I'm kind of from that area. I'm ashamed that I didn't know about this before. Snowshoe Thompson, though, is a misnomer. People just didn't have any context for skis. So it'd be like, I don't know, if I was like good at rollerblading and you called me like skateboard Brandon because you'd never seen rollerblades before. It's like, well, I'm not actually skateboarding. These are rollerblades, but whatever. You get the point, right? Oh, got a lot of them coming in here. Make sure I'm not leaving anything out here. Yeah, an unfortunate early demise, though. But that's a summary of the legend's life. I think that needs its whole own live stream. So we'll be delving back into Snowshoe Thompson again soon. But sometimes I like to just bring this stuff up to you guys. You guys, somebody in the chat like Space Cowboy here, will tell me about something. And I'll give you a chance to go check it out too before we actually get to it in a full live stream. Because everybody in here is here because they're a history nerd. So you want something to do in between the streams and the episodes, go look more into Snowshoe Thompson. Go look more into the Battle of Belly River. Lots of good stuff out there. I'm a conduit of sorts. That's how I look at myself. Let's see. $2 super chat from Short Stories by Kate. Thank you so much. He never got paid. What a guy. I know. Not the first and not the last time. I'm sure that's going to happen with our with trusty Uncle Sam. Let's see. He only carried a blanket and a Bible and the mail. That's it, said Space Cowboy. And a stick, right? One large ski pole. Acid. What are we talking about here? Acid, you're talking about a guiding trick to make sure that you don't fall through a cavern. I don't know can you elaborate on that a little bit? Let's see. It can save your life when you're not under a kid lift. I'm not sure. I think I missed something. Arizona Boy says no one beats the Pony Express or Wells Fargo. True, though the Pony Express was amazing, but crazy short-lived. We'll do it. Don't worry. We'll do a live stream on the Pony Express. And it ended in Sacramento, right? So there's around where I'm from, there's a big Pony Express legacy. No one expects the Pony Express. Snowshoe's grave is in Genoa, Nevada. Oh, that'd be cool to go check that out. I didn't think to look where his grave is at. Now, I forgot to cover this, but this morning we talked about Jack Hayes's possible involvement in a cover-up as the first sheriff of San Francisco. And if you know Hayes, if you listen to this channel, watch this channel, you're probably familiar with Jack Hayes, a famous Texas Ranger, but he was actually the first sheriff of San Francisco as well. And he is, in fact, buried in the Mountain View Cemetery, which is in present-day Oakland. So it's right in the smack dab middle of the tech hub Bay Area. Let's see. The single stick is okay. You're talking about the single stick. It has it's a traditional thing. It has its own means of utility. Oh, it's to check for, you poke it down through the snow and you check for crevices. Okay. Yeah. The snow is so thick in the Sierra Nevadas. Every pitfall, every possible danger that you would see in any high altitude mountaineering, it happens in the Sierra. So there's crevices, avalanches, everything. It's just an incredibly dangerous thing to do without adding the elements and the cold into it. So this Snowshoe Thompson guy, a bad mamma jamma, bad mother shut your mouth. Let's see. We need to do an HOKC field trip. We were talking about that, but the insurance for that, half kidding, might be tough with the characters that we have. Old Town, Sacramento, there's a statue marking the end of the Pony Express. Okay, I remembered that right. I remember going there as a school kid, fourth grade, somewhere in there. And when you grow up in Central California, that's where they take you to Old Town, Sacramento. And there's I think it's based on Remington's painting of the Pony Express. It's a cool statue. They take you there, you look at the statue, you see a train turn around, and you pan for gold in this trough, and you go home. Let's see. You learn that stuff real quick when you grow up around a lake, says Acid. I bet you do, man. Lakes freak me out. I stay away from lakes. Armenian Bishop, good to see you, man. Glad you made it. I don't think we've seen you for a stream or two, so good to see you. My sister is a ballet dancer. She made a modern dance concert inside the Oakland Mountain View Cemetery. Really? I found the Ghirardelli family tomb there. Really? Yeah, the Ghirardelli family is huge there. We talked about Joaquin Murrieta a little bit last night and his secret tunnel alleged, but I don't know. There's a lot of smoke for there not to be any fire behind this story, but an alleged tunnel that he had beneath a saloon in this small town of Hornitos. The small town of Hornitos actually had a small, I believe it was like a satellite Ghirardelli chocolate factory, and it's still there. You can still see like it has its own plaque. It's kind of a dilapidated red brick building, but of all places, they were like, let's go out to Hornitos. We can make a, franchise out there. And it didn't work. Surprise, surprise. But it is cool to go look at. If you're ever in the Sierra Nevada foothills, Hornitos is a small little speck on the map, but lots of great history. Arizona boy says in Holbrook, Arizona, they have a statue dedicated to the Pony Express. They would pass through that. It's a long ways, right? The rides these guys were making were incredible. From Sacramento to Holbrook, Arizona. The highways coming down from there follow the path that the riders took. A lot of our highways are like that too. A lot of the paths that the riders took were old Native American trails. A lot of Native American trails were old game trails. So like the highway, the Interstate 35, it's unfortunately, I don't live terribly far from it. But it's very busy all the time. It's one of the busiest interstates in America. And it was an old buffalo trail. It goes straight up through the plains, through the northern plains. It's centuries ago, there was just massive herds of buffalo walking through what would be today downtown Austin, San Antonio as well, Waco, where else? Up to Dallas, but I think the buffalo avoided Dallas, and so do I. Hornitos is good tequila, says Douglas Jones. It is, actually. Yes, it is. I like tequila. 35 just bites. Oh, Doc, what are you talking about? The I-35? Yeah, sucks, man. And they're always doing construction on it, and nothing ever gets built. Let's see. Wild game and cattle will take the easiest path. Yeah, absolutely. That's why you follow them, right? It's like, well, you know that they're going to take an easy path. Highway 88 is an old Indian trail. It's literally called the Apache Trail. Acid can attest to this. I think I talked about this last night on the way between Austin and Seguin. If you head southeast of Austin, you'll pass the El Camino Real, which is the first incursion the Spaniards made into the southeast of America. Acid Hunt says, I love y'all. I'm shutting up now. Don't shut up. You're a critical part of the chat. Nobody shut up. Everybody talk it up. Talk it up. I always do my best to get to everybody's chat. But there's getting to be a fair number of them. So if I don't take offense. Yeah, actually, Hornitos had like the first Old West ghost story I ever heard of, because the Chinese laborers were a huge part of building any town out there. If you drive the foothills in California today, you'll see miles and miles and miles and miles of these brick or stone walls the Chinese laborers put up. They're still all out there. They came up to work on the railroad and build fences and everything. And one of the first ghost stories I heard was that a Chinese laborer, a young boy, I believe, was accosted and unalived in this like tack room, if you know what that is, like a shed where they store saddles and stuff, by a local resident. And they never caught the guy. And they said the unfortunate Chinese adolescent's ghost still haunts Hornitos, and specifically that shack. And it's unfortunate because that shack is about 10 yards away from the Hornitos Municipal Park, where all the kids play and the swing sets are and everything. So at least they keep their history close to the vest in Hornitos. Very cool town, though. A lot of those towns in the specifically the foothills. I like those towns because they have a lot of good mining history. And I know I'm not like it's not I'm not trying to rag on the Sierras, right? Like beautiful towns up there. Got lots of friends that live up there. I spent lots of time in the Sierras, but it creeps me out up there. Okay, it creeps me out. Creeps me out up there. It creeps me out. What am I supposed to do? Not be creeped out? I don't know. But the foothills, I enjoy. I enjoy immensely. So if you're ever in that area, check out any of those little towns. There's some great history in almost all of them, and you'll still see people panning for gold. It's pretty common. You'll still see people panning for gold and presumably finding some. That might be a good rabbit hole to go down. Is the YouTube gold panner rabbit hole? I haven't done that. Short Stories by Kate, $5 super chat. Thank you so much. You make this chat possible. Short Stories by Kate. Let's see. Hornitos, California was the original Ghirardelli's, and also that's where they caught Joaquin Murrieta. Yeah, that's kind of where I pigeonholed it into talking about the Ghirardelli chocolate factory, because was it the original Ghirardelli's chocolate factory is in Hornitos, or was it a second location? I'm asking. I don't really remember. I spent, they used to have an annual race in a foot race, a running race, like a 10K in Hornitos. My dad's a good runner. He would show up out there and run really fast. I was a fat kid, so I'd hang out at the haunted shack, but it was fun for all. Did you cover the H wording of Chapita Rodriguez yet? Her novel was at the bottom. I don't know about that, Engineer Hickory Stripe Hat. Can you email me that maybe? History at the okcorral@gmail.com. That's the easiest way for me to keep track of it. We've got, who else? Who's reached out? Doc has reached out. We're going to talk a little bit about Doc stuff at some point. Space Cowboys reached out. Who else? Arizona Boy. So yeah, if you reach out to me, we try and pigeonhole this stuff in. I read all my emails. Short Stories by Kate says, you think the general store in Hornitos was what? Short Stories by Kate. All right, scanning through the chat real quick. Yeah, I mean, I find the foothills endearing. I like those towns. As soon as you go up in the Sierras, I'm sorry, it's just big time creepy energy. It's where this what's his name, Kerry Stainer used to go up there. He's from my hometown. He used to go up there after his brother got kidnapped. His brother gets kidnapped. He thinks, I know what I'll do. I'll take a bunch of acid and walk around in the mountains. Great idea. So he loses his mind. And then I remember being a kid, like 10 years old. My dad took me to go hike Half Dome. And Half Dome, I don't know if I'd take a kid to hike that. Kind of a precarious climb, but I was fine. I was a tough kid. But we're up there, and I hear on the radio that there's a serial unaliver, and he's loose in the park. And we drive by the motel where it had happened. It's all police taped off. And I'm like, hey, what's up with this? And my dad's just like, no, don't worry about it. And then I woke up in the morning, and my dad had gone over this little cliff, and he's like drinking a cup of coffee, and I couldn't see him. And there was some guy who started his hike up Half Dome, and he had this little pickaxe thing that he's hiking along with. And I was like, that's it. I just remember thinking, like, it's over. This dude has caught me. I knew he'd been trailing me, and now he's caught me. He took my dad. Now he's going to get me. But it wasn't. It was just some dude hiking. But still, it's a creepy place. I'm not telling you not to go to Yosemite. I'm just saying, when you go there, P's and Q's. We're checking our sixes all the time. Let's see. I hope to live in Idaho. Well, Acid Hunt, you said, I hope to love in Idaho someday. I hope that for you too, buddy, but you have to live there to love there, I think. That's my goal. Get another Harley and live my best life. Yeah, man. I've never even ridden the motorcycle. That's too dangerous for me. I see them whizzing by me on the 35, and I'm just like, man, not for me. Apache had some good spots, and you're right about the mountains. Has anyone in Arizona ever been to the Superstition Mountains? I've been by there, but that's a creepy area too. Arizona Boy says, it's beautiful out there. 20 minutes from the lakes and mountains. You can't beat it. You talking about the Superstition Mountains? All right. I'm perusing back through the chat now. Anybody else know anything about Snowshoe Thompson, or you ever been to Hornitos? Anybody ever been to any of these little mining towns? And they have them all over, right? I'm talking about the California ones, but mining happened. Mining, in a way, built the West itself. They have mining towns in Arizona, Idaho, Nevada, oh, geez, Montana, everywhere, Colorado. It's a big YouTube rabbit hole where they go down these abandoned mines. But guys, I love y'all, right? I'll do anything, but I won't do that. We're not going to go looking for abandoned mines, and we're not going cave diving. If you've ever been down the cave diving rabbit hole, we're not doing that. Anybody ever watch cave diving videos? Sometimes I watch those for hours. I'm just like, why am I freaking myself out like this? But it's alluring. I don't know. Try Dan Hurd and MBMM for mining content, says Troy. Hey, Troy, what's up, man? I haven't seen you yet tonight. Are those channels, Troy? Dan Hurd and MBMM? Let's see. Acid says you're in Washington now. Oh, you're in Washington. Okay. Sorry, I missed that. Armenian Bishop, you're in California. You didn't know about Joaquin Murrieta? I guess you're in the Bay Area, right? So kind of you're on the other side of Joaquin is in the Sierras. Oh, you didn't know that about Murrieta. I'm sorry. Yeah, it's like one of those apocryphal stories, but I mean, come on, 80% of history is apocryphal. And then like I said, there's enough historical smoke for there to be some fire. Acid says, no cave diving. Nope. Great videos, though. If you can watch more than 10 minutes of cave diving videos, it'll build your mental toughness. Either cave diving videos or those videos where those guys climb the skyscrapers. They go to like Dubai and they go in the middle of the night and they climb them. And they get to the top and they like stand at the very top of the crane. But it's pretty cool to watch. It's probably morally questionable because, yes, not all those guys are going to make it, but I don't know. What am I supposed to do? The story of Space Cowboy, the story of, you're talking about Nutty Putty Cave. The story of Nutty Putty Cave puts to rest any desire I have for caving exploring. Yeah, if you don't know about Nutty Putty Cave, this guy named, it's John, is it John Jones? No. What was his name again? But this guy, basically, they're caving, right? You crawl through this cave, and they go through spots that are only as wide as you are, and they'll even have to go like this and wiggle through the spot. You have to push yourself with your feet. Like imagine I'm lying down on my stomach, and you got pushed through like that. They're doing that. They're experienced spelunkers, or I think it's caving because they're crawling around. Either way, this guy takes a wrong turn. He thinks he's going up, I think, when he's actually going down, but he gets himself in a spot where his head is like wedged this way and he can't pull his legs back. So he's just plumb stuck. There's nothing you can do. They can't pull him back. He can't go any farther in. So he was stuck there. They called in rescues. They tried to chip him out for 24 hours, I think, over 24 hours until the poor guy ultimately succumbed. But horrifying story. And if you're questioning going caving, go watch that. Or if you just need a terrifying YouTube rabbit hole. Let's see. I lived in Murrieta, California for 2 years. Lots of cool hiking trails. Is that the Bay Area? I get my California towns mixed up sometimes. Has anybody else ever watched any caving or cave diving videos? There's a cave here that Mr. Ballin did a story on, Jacob's Well. It's just south of Austin. And these two 18, 19-year-olds snuck out there in the middle of the night in the early 80s. And they had all their gear and they thought to be fair, they did have a map of the cave and they thought they knew where they were going, which is like, that's not good when you think you know where you're going. But they went all the way down this cave. Excuse me, these allergies, man. They went all the way down this cave and then basically took the wrong channel coming up and just hit a dead end and didn't have enough oxygen to go back. And that's it. Ellie McFadden, good night, all. Are you out of here already, Ellie? Well, have a good night. Hopefully it's a nice night in Arkansas. Douglas Jones says Murrieta is in North San Diego County. Man, yeah, I've driven through there so many times. I don't know why I didn't think it was. I almost said San Diego County though. Let's see, Bama Deanna, good to see you. I found out less than a year ago my property sits on an abandoned mine. So they have them in Alabama as well. There is a mine shaft at the back of the property that has been covered up. Well, leave it covered up. Leave it covered up. That's what I would say. Stephen Miller says, go cave diving. There's a confined space rescue team that needs experience. Well, they can practice on somebody else. Let's see. Murrieta Springs is Northern San Diego County. Okay. I remember now. I told you though, I mix up. I'm not good with the city names, the geography of California. Even the towns that are like 30 miles from where I grew up, I'm like, what? Never heard of it. California is a rather insular place. A provincial place? I don't know. All right. Anybody have anything else about the Blackfoot, the Cree, cave diving? Let's see. What else we cover? Snowshoe Thompson. If not, I'm going to, what we're going to do, I want to do a little Squanto preview. What else did I have? I wanted to update you guys on the sawdust pie. That is coming tomorrow. That should be here tomorrow. I'm making it, so it'll be here tomorrow for tomorrow night's stream. Looking forward to it. If you guys don't know what it is, it's like coconut, pecan, graham cracker filling baked into a pie, basically. Like, you can't go wrong. Apparently, it's a Kentucky thing. Let's see. So I'm excited for that. I know you were all excited for that. Because to understand history, you have to taste history. Oh, yeah. And I wanted to post one more thing. Here, this is a good one. Max. We talked about Max Miller earlier. I think we talked about Max Miller. I'm a big tasting history fan. And I just found this amazing recipe here. So if you ever want to try making a pecan pie without the syrup, there it is, folks. Oh, put it in there right now. This looks good. This looks good, though. I'm trying to, into making this. And I'm getting to practice putting links in the live chat. There we go. You're welcome. California is definitely a provincial place. It can be. There are 100 old mines around me, says Bamadiana. We'll stay away from all of them. Stay away from 100% of the 100 mines. Walker County, Alabama is big coal mining country. Okay, I was going to ask what kind of mining. Pet Detectives, HOKC Cooking Show. $5 super chat for the HOKC Cooking Show. Thank you so much. Really appreciate that. You are a financial stalwart of this program. Yeah, thank you guys for all the super chats. What makes me able to do these, seriously. Also, I want to figure out how to do it, but we can put together, we got to find different pies and recipes. And then I'll just do if we can put together enough money to buy the stuff, then I'll make them and we'll see how the historic recipes go. I really want to try this pecan pie. Looks really good. It was a John Cert. I'm not sure what you mean, Acid. Frankly, I liked it here, but Armenian Bishop says you liked California 50 years ago. Yeah, that's what I've heard. Even when I grew up in California, it was awesome. It was super cool. In the 90s, it was great. Now, not so much. Let's see. No peppercorns in my pecan pie, please. No, mine neither. No whipped cream either. I don't need it. I don't need that. It's a little too European. I keep forgetting to get that cookie recipe for you. Oh, yeah, bro, you do. I'll message my mom right now. I mean, it's totally fine. No hurry, but we can try it on here. I'm not bad at cooking. It's not my main thing. You know what I mean? But it'd be fun to try some of these recipes. Then at least I could say yeah, guys, it's worth a shot, or no, it's not. And we all love desserts, apparently. When we start talking donuts and cakes and cookies and pies, everybody lights up. One thing I do want to do, I think I want to go to Round Rock Donuts here. If you guys haven't heard of Round Rock Donuts, they make these huge, 5-gallon bucket cinnamon rolls. I think they just do normal donuts that way too. And they cut out the middle with a coffee can. They're massive. I'll get one of those and eat that entire thing for you guys if you need. What else do they have? Voodoo Donuts here, which is kind of like a hipstery place that started in Portland. but their maple bars are superb. Their maple bars, which I think is the king of the donut world, are superb, superb. So we can go try those. Oh, funnel cakes. I could try making funnel cakes. Let's see. Whipped cream is too gamey for you. I mean, it's got its place. There's just not enough substance in the whipped cream. I was like, it's like paying a lot for. It's like if it's real estate, I'm paying a lot for air. You know what I mean? I need more land for the money. Does that make sense? There's too much air in the whipped cream. I like ice cream. I like regular cream, but whipped cream, it's like, well, what the hell happened to all the what happened to the cream? It's full of air now. Stephen Miller says tacos, tacos, and more tacos. There's a lot of good food here I could go get or I could try to make. Let's see. Maple bacon donut is the absolute king of donuts. So yeah, I'm gonna disagree just a touch there, Douglas Jones, because I don't like when they add bacon to everything. I thought they were gilding the lily, as it were, by adding bacon to something that was already perfect. Does that make sense? I just felt like, well, listen, if I have a strong cup of black coffee and a maple donut, I just don't need to add. And I like bacon, but it just felt like I want to keep my sweet and my savory separated. I need to compartmentalize. That makes, am I crazy? I don't know. Because you're not wrong. You're not wrong, Douglas Jones. But neither am I. Let's see. Engineer says you've been eating rabbits for 2 days in a row now. Don't do that for too long. You can get rabbit starvation. That's why the mountain men liked bear so much. They needed fat. You can still starve on just lean protein. I'm worried about you, engineer. I don't like desserts or sweets, says Stephen Mill. You're one of those, really? You're one of those? You're lucky. You don't have to fight the battle the rest of us do. I'm a salty sweet lover, says Douglas Jones. I get that combo. I get that combo. I generally like mine separated, but I like a little salt on top. Yeah, it adds an air of nobility. It's oh, you're talking about funnel cakes, Bama Deanna? It's just pancake batter that you put powdered sugar on. Yeah, yeah, I could do that with no seed oils. That way, little Bobby is cool with me. Short stories by Kate says no sweets. Well, I'll take it up with little Bobby. Short stories by Kate. All right, let me see and keep pouring them in there, guys. I'll keep checking the chats. Just want to see if I can get a little. Has everybody seen Squanto, the movie? Because I can at least let you know what we're going to be watching tomorrow. Squanto, I had it pulled up. I had all this stuff pulled up, and of course, you can't find it when you go live. Here we go. This will be good. We'll just get the trailer for everybody. Put this. Have everybody seen it? Let me see. I'm gonna ask the chat real quick. I like putting these chats up. Try to pull. I just looked at the screen right now and I was like, who the hell is that guy? Oh, it's me. Have you ever seen the Disney movie Squanto? Magic Keycast, if you're in here and you haven't seen it, it's like, what the hell, bro? I'm sure he's seen it. All right. Good movie, though. To poke fun at, have a good time with, be cynical with, and still learn some good history. Enjoy some good Thanksgiving history. Because Squanto was a wild cat. Like he really did get commandeered by the English and spent a couple of years in London, and he could speak fluent English. He had converted to Anglicanism, maybe Anglicanism at that time, right? Converted to Christianity. He was like kind of a man about town, and then like went back home, and then ended up kind of brokering this. What would you call that? Not a peace deal, but like a coexistence between the Pilgrims and the native tribes. The Narragansett, I believe. Let's see. I bet Squanto would rethink his kindness to the Pilgrims if he knew what happened later. Yeah, maybe, maybe not. You got along with them okay, but yeah, maybe, maybe. Hindsight's 2020. Oh, 75% of you haven't seen it. Let me put a little link. This is just the trailer. Everybody can take a look at it. As you will see, it's high on the cheesy factor, but it's good. He's like looking up at a hawk. He's finding a vision. He's hanging out with all his bros. He's canoeing. Pennsylvania Plowboy, you just get here? What's up, man? Dude got yoinked, says Doc. Well, he did. Kind of got yoinked. Let's see. Straight whiskey drinkers don't usually like sweets. No, they don't. No, they don't. Those two don't go well together, I guess. Armenian Bishop says, this is my favorite live stream place. Well, thank you very much. It's mine too. So glad to have you here. Glad to have everybody. Pennsylvania Plowboy says, I had a fire meeting company. Took a while. No problem, man. Glad you made it. It's never, work comes first. I get it. Yeah, everybody check out the Squanto thing. Let me know what you guys think. Good movie for tomorrow. 80% of you guys haven't seen this. Yeah, it's kind of a classic for early 90s kids. I think it'll be fun though. Good cornball factor. Everybody bring your, if you have a pre Thanksgiving dessert or meal that you're not going to use on Thanksgiving Day, bring it along. Bring it along. We'll all enjoy our treats and our movie together. Isn't Narragansett Captain Quinspear from Jaws? Is it? I don't know. It's a prominent, I believe Squanto is from the Narragansett tribe. I might be wrong about that though, but that's a prominent tribe in that area. Bama, Deanna, I got to head out. I need to make it to the store before they close. Absolutely. Well, good to see you. You were here for the lunchtime one. You're such a champ, Bama, Deanna. Tell your grandson we said hello. Have a good night, and we'll be back here for the lunchtime stream tomorrow. Anybody have any? Take care, Bama. Good to see you. Yeah, if you have seen Squanto, what's your take on it? Bama Deanna says the grandson kicked my butt today. That's what the 4-year-olds can do. That they can do that. They're Energizer bunnies. Going to make popcorn and kick back with the movie, says Doc. Well, yeah. BYOS. Bring your own snacks. Bring your own booze too if you want, you know? I don't feel like I really can't drink on the stream because that could go south in a hurry. But everybody else, you're welcome to. And then we'll be doing the Ballad of Buster Scruggs on Friday. So we got 2 movie nights. Then I don't have Saturday planned yet, but we'll have another live stream then. Anybody gonna watch some football on Thanksgiving? If we get bored, maybe we'll watch some football. Doc Will, you got hit by an ad, man. That's how like YouTube channels get paid. But I know it's such a pain in the ass that I think I can say that it's set up that way. They seem to pop up at the worst times. Let's see, scanning through the chat here. If there's anything else that I didn't cover about the Battle of Belly River or about Snowshoe Thompson, let me know. Armenian Bishop says Squanto lived with Spanish monks. They saved his life and helped him get back to America. Did he convert? I wasn't sure. Did he convert to Anglicanism or Catholicism or something like that? He was pretty staunchly converted, I believe. Let's see. Douglas Jones. Yes, Captain Quint drinks Narragansett beer before he got bifurcated by the fish. Great character, though. Great character. That's one of the best characters in cinema history. Armenian Bishop. Squanto was Catholic. Okay, that's what I thought. Which is interesting, too, because it's like that kind of adds a three-pronged three-pronged complexity to the situation, because Squanto's ostensibly, at least, he's Catholic, and then his native brethren is not, but they're not Christian at all. And then the Puritans are a stridently Protestant sect. So there's like three disagreeing theological heads at the first Thanksgiving. So nothing new, right? Lots of disagreements all around. I don't know. My Thanksgivings are cool. Everybody in my family gets along, but I know they can be explosive in some households. Is anybody watching football? We still have any football fans left here? I haven't really watched a lot this season, but I'll watch on Thanksgiving. The Cowboys always play, so Texas shuts down. Half of Texas shuts down. Nothing sadder than watching the constant struggle against futility of being a Cowboys fan. Man, that's sad just to watch. No offense to any Cowboys fans, but you know what I'm talking about. And let's see. I'm also looking for other topics because we'll probably have time to fit a couple in. I don't think this is a terribly long movie, so we might have time to hit a couple extra topics tomorrow. Um, so throw those in the chat if you can think of any smaller topics. If there's anything else smaller topics you'd like me to cover tonight, let me know. We can squeeze those in and go a little bit longer. And try to think of anything else. I think that's about everything for right now. If you know anything about the Blackfoot yourself, too, I'm looking for good books on the Blackfoot. They're hard to find. Can you talk about Granbury, Hood, and Cleburne sometime, please? I know a little bit about Granbury. I have family just west of Granbury. It was a rough place for a while. Let me look a little bit more into the actual history of it, and we'll get back to you, Freddie V. Let's see. Stephen Miller says, I tolerate holidays to stay. He says, I tolerate holidays to stay out of divorce court. Well, that's a good tactic, if nothing else. I'm sure you're not alone in that. I like Thanksgiving though. I like it's a very dessert heavy holiday. Usually sports on. There's not a lot other than the cooking that you just hang out and you eat. So it's cool. That's cool. Douglas says you're trying to be a Chargers fan. Chargers fans are a unique breed. There's some diehard Chargers fans. You kind of like being a Cowboy fan, but there's no rings. There's just no hardware, bro. If they ain't bringing home the hardware, then they ain't bringing home the hardware, you know? What have you done for me lately, as Janet Jackson said? I wanted to ask earlier, but can someone explain how the horse spread so far north so fast from the tribes that mastered it in less than a generation? Economics has a lot to do with that because once once Santa Fe was overthrown, that was like a major diaspora. Until then, the technology of the horse, like the horse, I see this quite a bit, but the horse is an actual technology. It's obviously an amazing animal, but in and of itself, it is an actual technology. I swear, it's that. Man, it annoys me so much. That's just there. It's an actual technology, though. So the Spanish guarded how to take care of them, how to ride them, how to feed them, everything for many, many decades. Only a scant few native caretakers were privy to how to take care of and to use horses. But once they broke free, the tribes that first got them were really the Comanche and the Apache, some Kiowa, and they just, you got to make a living, so they started trading them to the tribes north of them, and then many of them just migrate up there themselves. And it wasn't like it happened overnight. It took probably 50 years or something like that for the tribes to really get a hang of it, and maybe 75 for 100 years for the horse to, that's a generous estimate, but for the horse to really change the landscape of the Great Plains took 75 to 100 years, something like that, but still very rapid, and it changed the lifestyles of these tribes, relatively speaking, in the blink of an eye. 10 years is 10, 15, 20 years is an incredibly fast time, an incredibly short time to have a paradigmic shift of that nature, of that magnitude. Let's see. Oh, don't forget to like the stream too. That really helps. The little like button, the thumbs up there, that really helps YouTube get it out there in the algorithm. And if you think there's somebody else who would like this stream, share the stream as well. That all of that really helps. Those super chats, sharing it, all helps drive this. And we're trying to expand this, get as many people in as we can. Everybody that shows up for this has been really cool. So the more we can get, the better. A lot of you guys know a lot about history too. So I learn a lot through the chats and emails and everything myself. Let's see. Stephen Miller says deer camp over Thanksgiving anytime. I haven't been formally deer hunting, but I've heard deer camp is a good time. I got a lot of friends that invite me. I need to take them up on it. The Acid says the Comanche got really good at horse riding. Yeah, they're I think probably the best at it. They had the horse for comparatively the longest because they got it generally at the first. So they had it for sometimes decades before tribes like the Blackfoot got it because the horses have to go a long ways from New Mexico up to Montana, Alberta, Canada. So it takes a little bit longer. But the Comanche, I think, are only comparable to like trick riders in today's rodeos and circuses and stuff like that. But they could do that while shooting at you. So horrifying. What about the Nez Perce and the Appaloosa? Yeah, really, they made their own horse, right? Their own breed. I'm a big fan of Appaloosas too. They're a beautiful horse. Um, the Comanche got really rude too. I mean, it depends on who you ask, but I think this is my take on it, right? But as someone who spends many hours every week trying to find pictures that I need for the episodes, I've looked at hundreds, probably thousands of pictures of all these tribes at this point, of everyone from the Blackfoot to the Pomo to the Iroquois to, of course, the Comanche. And every tribe, almost all the other tribes have a kind of look of either dissociation, maybe kind of amusement on their face when their picture is being taken. Like they're kind of like either 1,000 yard stare or they're just kind of like amused by the picture being taken. The Comanche, almost universally, are all looking at the camera like it's a UFC fight card. Like they can't wait for this guy to finish taking their picture so they can unalive him. Like I'm sure they didn't literally do that, but that's how they all have a great game face. Almost every Comanche picture, even Quana is just like he's got a tough look. Let's see. Comanche. I'm scanning through the chat. Hiram Granberry was Granberry's name for. I didn't know that. He lost his life for the Battle of Franklin in 1864. I didn't know that. We just talked about Ben McCulloch, who was a Confederate general, famous Texas Ranger. He went and served with the Confederacy and lost his life in 1863, but I forget the name of the battle. And he's buried at the state cemetery here. His brother Henry is buried in Seguin. I've been to Henry's grave. I have not yet been to Ben's grave, but two landmark brothers in Texas history. I've actually I met a guy through the show who owns an old ranger station that he bought. It's on private land now. It was Ben and Henry's cabin, basically. It's really cool. It has like a cellar in the middle of it where they used to keep food and prisoners at times. It's at the crossroads of these two roads. There's an old Model T outside that someone ran out of gas like 100 years ago and just left it. But other than that, it's the same as when the McCulloch brothers were there. It's been refurbished. And there's actually the stones that make up the corners of the walls are stacked like this. So they make kind of a de facto ladder on two corners of the building so that you could climb up there quickly and get to the roof and defend the Comanche attacks. That's how frequent they were. It was like it affected the architecture. Let's see. The Comanche up north had been everyone's whipping boy when they were up, in the northern rock in the Rockies. They had a chip on their shoulder for sure, and they weren't like, oh, they were. Oh, well, hopefully, guys, it cut me off again. All right, I'm back. I don't know. I got good Wi-Fi and everything. I don't know what's going on. Still there. I made it back, man. And for a second, I was like, not again. All right, if that happens again, we'll just reconvene at lunch tomorrow. But for a second, I was like, not again. I have like 3 windows open. I just have the bare minimum. So I don't know what's going on here. Is it skipping for you guys right now? Is it still skipping? Let me know in the chat. I don't want to. It's not skipping now. I don't want to just carry on, and I hate it when people just keep carrying on. It's skipping out. Oh, skipping audio is the worst. Let's see. All right, let me know. A couple more people. Give me like a 1 in the chat. Just hit 1 and enter. You're good. Okay, we're good. Cool. All right. Texas Vintage Depot. We'll go another couple of minutes here, 10 minutes or so. Or if you guys have more stuff you want to hit me with, just let me know. Pet detectives. All right, cool. 111. Let's see it. I'll double check when this one gets done. I'll go troubleshoot and see if there's anything going on. It worked good for the noon show. Such as show business. We'll figure it out. Have you done anything on the Comanche Park or Lookout in San Antonio on Nacogdoches? I know about Comanche Park in San Antonio. Is it on Nacogdoches Road? Texas Vintage Depot? That's a cool name, by the way. Pennsylvania Plowboy says YouTube being YouTube. Yeah. I get it, man. Trust me. If it's frustrating for me too. Texas Deep. No, Texas, I haven't. Texas Vintage. I haven't done it yet. Actually, that'd be a good thing to put into a live stream. Those are a lot of these stories. I've said it a million times by now. I just have a tough time wedging them into episodes because they just aren't. They don't lend themselves to episodic storytelling. So we could do a live stream on that. It's one place that people can go visit. Let's see. Ken Fox, how did you come up with the name of your channel? I don't know. I was just delivery driving and I was trying to think up, I guess, a common placeholder name for conflicts. It's like I listened to a lot of boxing and it would be like, well, this is the Ali Frazier of this, right? This is the Ali Frazier of our generation. And the shootout at the shootout at the OK Corral is like that for history. You would say like, this is the shootout at the OK Corral of World War II or whatever, right? So I just thought it would be a cool name. And the idea is that it's not supposed to pin us down to just Wild West history. That's kind of our bread and butter, but the overarching theme is shootouts and showdowns. So that we want to branch out into some Mongolian stuff, some more South American stuff. We did a little bit on the Zulu War, and I'd like to do a little bit more. Australia. It's a worldwide thing. HOKC worldwide. Let's see. Did you look into Apache Leap? Not yet. There are 2 battles that were fought there. Man, I need my memory jogged on that one. Terry R leaves a $10. Wow, $10 super chat. Thank you very much. Leaving a tip for the bartender. Good night. Thank you so much for coming by, Terry R. You are a stalwart supporter of the program as well. And thank you for funding the operation. Thank you so much. Ken Fox. Okay, thanks. Are you starting a YouTube channel yourself, Ken Fox? It's like band names. You just throw them around until you find something that sticks. Have a good night, Terry R. Thanks again. We really appreciate that. Let's see. Scanning through the chat here. No, Ken Fox says, I'm not planning on starting a YouTube channel. Well, think about it. Think about it a little bit. All right. So I don't have the topic for tomorrow ironed out for our lunchtime stream. We'll do one tomorrow. Well, I'll kick it off noon Eastern. So that'll be an hour earlier than we've been doing. So noon Eastern, 9 a.m. Pacific. We'll come back with a coffee stream tomorrow. I don't know what yet. Like I said, we'll figure it out. Okay. I'm just making sure. I'm trying not to leave anybody out that's left the chat. Racking out myself, says Doc. Have to get up at 0400 to drive to Oklahoma. Man. Well, tune in if you're on the road. Tune in for the live stream at lunchtime. That'll be 11 o'clock your time. Yeah, 11 o'clock. So we'll see you then, hopefully, Doc. Drive safe. But all right, guys, if I'm leaving anything out, let me know in the chat in the next minute or so, and we'll start wrapping up ourselves here. We've all got plenty to do, I'm sure. I got to finish up the next episode. We do a lot of live streams, but our bread and butter is still the episodes. So getting those out to you. Yeah, make sure everybody comes back. Thank you again, everybody that's tuned in. We're growing the audience. Can't thank you enough for coming out. As it grows, we have more fun. I think it's a little corny, but we'll that's our working slogan for now. But Yeah, thank you all again for coming out. Got a lot of content coming your way. So if you like this kind of history, stay tuned. We will be back tomorrow at noon Eastern. I always mix this up. Noon Eastern, 9 a.m. Pacific for our coffee stream. Come hang out, talk a little history with us, and then we'll be back again tomorrow night, our standard time, 9 p.m. Eastern, 6 p.m. Pacific for our Squanto watch party. Oh, short stories by Kate. Squeezing one in at the very end here. Getting one through the uprights. Short stories by Kate with a $5 super chat. Thank you so much. Get a coffee on me tonight. I'll be honest with you, I'm going to do that because I'm going to get some coffee right after this. This one's almost done, so I'll take you up on that. Thank you so much. Space Cowboy says, Simper Supra. Arizona Boy says, night, y'all. Night, y'all. Have a good night. Thanks again, everybody. We will see you tomorrow at 12 p.m. Eastern, 9 a.m. Pacific. Thanks, y'all, for tuning in again. Always have a good time with you. God bless and have a good night. Bye. All right, cool.